Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for the Friday TMBS roundup live stream. Take some super chat questions. Very full week, a little bit tired. Getting ready tomorrow to go to Queens for the Bernie Sanders AOC rally. And of course, hey, how's it going? We've already talked about it. We talked about it a lot on Wednesday's show. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. But, these endorsements of Bernie, I just want to really underline that they really show. Then there'll be critiques, there'll be disagreements. I certainly have Hey, Kennedy. Hey, Joshua. Got some reservations, definitely on some areas, say with foreign policy, specifically on AOC, some strategic questions. But of course, as I always say, there's always disagreements. Nobody's perfect. We're all learning and evolving. So the critiques were never Vampire Castle to begin with. Waterbow from Kashmir, what's up? But I really would say that what AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib have demonstrated is really that they're of a movement. They're seriously committed to politics. They care about this stuff. They care about Medicare for all. They care about canceling student debt. Thank you. They care about the real, actual transformative agenda that Bernie Sanders and absolutely no other candidate is putting on the table. It's easier to pretend otherwise. It's safer. It's even safer in the media space, right? I think that, it really shows that the hinge and the base of what they're committed to now is in that multiracial working class coalition. And I really think actually no one articulates that better than Ilhan Omar. I could not be more thrilled by Ilhan Omar. I think she is the most important young leader in an incredibly promising crop. Obviously, AOC, Rashida Tlaib. But now you've got all these other fascinating, great people who are running for office, taking on major risks, like Shahid Buttar, like Michaela Wilkes, like Lauren Ashcraft, and others. So I'm really excited for the rally. Don't let anybody tell you that the squad's endorsements for Bernie aren't an incredibly big deal. Ayanna Pressley is cool. Thank you, Veronica. Ayanna Pressley is cool, but she is not of the movement in the same way. And that's very clear. Look, AOC was grassroots organizing for Bernie Sanders in 2016. And I believe Ayanna Pressley was on the Boston City Council and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Now, there's always coalitions. There's always work to be done. Ayanna Pressley has been a moral force on Trump's terrorism against migrants. And she's excoriated Ben Carson's grotesque handling of HUD. So great. But she also voted against free speech and against humanity of Palestinians on BDS. She has not supported Sanders in the past, and I would be very hesitant to think that Ayanna Pressley has the same core commitments that you see from Ilhan Omar, AOC, and Rashida Tlaib. As always, guys, hit me with super chats for your questions. That really helps the channel go. Hit the bell so you get the notifications, and go become a patron now. We got to hit that 3,000 patron goal, patreon.com/TMBS. And when we get to 4,000 or 5,000 patrons, that's when we can really start expanding out and using other people in terms of like their full talents, and keep expanding what we do, like those amazing video illicit histories. How many of you guys have watched the video illicit histories, either because you're a Comrade patron or you've watched them when we release them on the YouTube channel? How many of you have checked them out? I would be really curious to know. You should read up on the uprising happening in Lebanon. It's cross-sectarian and anti-austerity, threatening the current government's collapse. It's historic. It absolutely is, and I am going to be talking about it on Tuesday's show. What's Bernie or Bust Bill think about Tulsi today? Tulsi revealed that my wife is a fucking sellout and a criminal. No one has more bodies than my wife. And maybe if people actually opposed war, they'd acknowledge that Barack Obama met with Modi too. But everybody just wants to hate on Tulsi, even though she's the only candidate for peace. I did watch, by the way, or I noticed the Tulsi HRC beef. Look, I do not like either of these two politicians. I will, look, if you force me in a corner, I'm going to have to pick Tulsi Gabbard over Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton literally instigated, coup. I mean, look, she backed a coup in Honduras. Her record in Haiti is abominable and has a direct relationship with the repression of the uprisings in Haiti today. She played an obscene role in the Brazil process. She very active. I mean, Libya, Syria. Hillary Clinton, I'm not a fan of. And I also thought, my God, as Matt Leck pointed out, this is exactly what Tulsi wants. Let's do some ridiculous Russia bullshit nonsense so I don't have to answer a question about my relationship to Modi. Get Chris Hayes on TMBS. That's definitely possible. I don't have to answer a question about Narendra Modi. I don't have to answer a question about General Sisi. By the way, and nothing at any point about having an actual humane policy with regards to Palestine, Israel. No moral clarity on ending the occupation. No moral clarity on the constant murders and stripping of humanity that Israel does in Gaza. With the recent portrayal of the Kurds by the U.S., I've been wanting to read up on the history. How have we done this before? Got any recommendations? Well, become a patron and jump into our illicit history series. We have a illicit history series on the Kurds, on Iran, on Israel, Palestine. That is really where I start. Then I would, even before you get to book recommendations, and I'll think about that, read as much Patrick Coburn as you can, agree or disagree. Regardless, his scholarship is absolutely essential on this area. I would read contextually and broadly. I'd read Vijay Prasad's People's History of the Third World. Those are some recommendations off of the top. Hedges, not Hayes. I got what you meant. Yes. I think you may definitely well see Chris Hedges on this show. Only 2 people in and actually maybe even Hayes someday too. Only 2 people in my class voted in 2018. One of them was me. How do we get 18, 20-year-olds involved in this movement? Well, honestly, I think, for that group, talk to them about what... I've had Richard Wolff on the show multiple times, and I've been on Richard Wolff's show. So Richard Wolff will be back November 11th. Monday, November 11th is Richard Wolff's next appearance. I think when you're talking to 18, 19, 20-year-olds, you got to, obviously, like anybody else, start with what their interests are. What are they most caring about? What are they most concerned about? This shrinking economy, social atomization, student debt. Obviously, Bernie's going to deliver free college student debt relief. That's the clearest thing. What are they most passionate about, and what are their most immediate needs? You talk to them about it. And I think, in their cases, this is one where I will, I'll self-promote. I think you should take them to the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. Show them around. Check out a Kyle Kalinske. If they're more, maybe, whoever you think they might be interested in. As 90, in terms of content. 90s underground hip-hop, like Abstract, Rude, and Mystical Journeyman, have a lot of philosophical commonalities with anti-establishment politics today. I can actually see that. What do you think why do you think Sanders changed his stance in regard to full legalization of all drugs? He did? Did he? I don't know about that. Did he support full legalization in the beginning of his career? My guess is if he moved to the right on that look, there's a period in Bernie Sanders' career where, and not to excuse, I'm just being real. He voted the wrong way on certain things, but this guy held the flame for democratic socialism at a time. Go back. I'm rereading Adolph Reed's Class Notes, which I'll always recommend. I'm going to do a primer on it. It's an amazing book. Adolph Reed is one of our most important public intellectuals and activists Read the piece he just published in the New Republic. And, you know, in the 90s, you have this across the board buy-in on demonizing the poor. Yes, I'll be at the rally tomorrow. Just became a patron because we need to support lefty media. I watch your content every day, so it's about time I give back. Thank you so much. Honored, appreciate it. Social democracy was savaged. Everything was third way, corporatist, blame the poor politics, including across academic, foundational, and conventional Democratic Party institutions. Bernie Sanders is in the wilderness talking about corporate media monopolies and single-payer healthcare. So I think that there were probably certain areas, and definitely on foreign policy. Michael, guest recommendation. David Starr is going to be on the show November 5th, or November 11th as well, actually, before Richard Wolff. He's going to be on the phone. Where's the merch so I can give you more money? Oh, so soon. As a matter of fact, let me do this. I will show you. They're not ready for sale yet, but this is the back of the TMBS hoodie that's on the way. So I'm not bullshitting. It's real. We're just setting up the shop. So it's coming. It is coming. It is coming. And I'm very excited for all of you to get with the TMBS merch. So, oh yeah, we're definitely globalists. I am literally a globalist socialist. That's what the book is about, which you'll also be hearing about a lot more about as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think, but I would like to see Bernie definitely move towards full drug decriminalization. No doubt. I mean, that's a really important space. The other thing I want to loop back to the commentary on Wednesday. The movements in Ecuador and Haiti are incredibly important. They go to the roots of whatever trajectory you want to look on. I think understanding the World Bank, IMF as the economic agenda, if you look at the Western system, and especially I think if you look at it in Emmanuel Wallerstein terms, centers and peripheries, how empire actually works. You have, the military dimension, obviously. That's everything from U.S. instigated coups and invasions across the globe. We see this playing out in the Middle East today with our alliance with Saudi Arabia and Israel, the backing of the genocidal war in Yemen, our regional power politics and turf wars in Syria as well, and backing Israeli apartheid. But then also, went to see Abby Martin's showing, Abby Martin's Gaza Fights for Freedom earlier this week. Looking forward to the live show next month. Philly live show, get your tickets. And Abby Martin is coming on TMBS Tuesday, November 5th to talk about her terrific documentary. Everybody needs to see this. This is an incredibly important documentary that they did about Gaza. So Abby Martin is going to be a guest on November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th. This coming week, John Idarola and Artesia Balthrop. Thank you. The great Artesia Balthrop. Thank you, guys. So that there's the military dimension. That's the death machine that's killing civilians in Afghanistan. Then there is the global economic dimension and the prime institutions of the World Bank, IMF as colonial agents and really the ultimate target of actual left uprisings like you see in Haiti and Ecuador. Is Bernie's movement so far on par in terms of the size and mobilization of Obama 08? I'm assuming we need a bigger turnout than the 08 primary. I don't know. I don't think so yet. But I also think that it really is a broader reach out. And so some of it is not fully measured. Can we get a high-level ideas t-shirt any chance? I think that's a good idea. Thoughts on Tupac from his mom to his aunt, Assata Shakur's political stance on Cuba. Well, I think Tupac is more interesting to me as a cultural figure and just his enormous personal charisma and tragedy of his life. He's a good rapper, but he's definitely not in the rotation. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, though. Bernie does have more donors than Obama did. He reached 1 million donors faster than anybody else. Incidentally, the second person with the most individual donors after Bernie Sanders is Donald Trump. There's another thing people need to be very serious about when they think in terms of a strategy of how to actually beat that motherfucker. So, I'm trying to think of what else to touch on. Next week, we'll be getting into Lebanon. We're getting into Catalonia. This election in Argentina is very important. You need to see the win of a Fernandez-Kirchner ticket. Even the most flawed left governments can, in addition to improving material conditions with regards to poverty and against vulture capital, if there's the correct configuration, they open movements in the social space. Please, more on the Uyghurs and Central Asia stans, the regions too often overlooked, and in the pincers of US, Chinese, and Russian power. So I agree with that. One is I don't have a person yet that focuses in that area in the world. And, I frankly know less about the stans. I know some, but I know less. Obviously, look, I have no interest in whitewashing, and it's ridiculous. Of course, the Chinese are committing significant rights abuses against the Uyghurs. They commit significant rights abuses in Tibet. And I think, again, instead of, the xenophobic path is China's this special monster. That's ridiculous. I think the smart cosmopolitan socialist path is seeing how it all synchronizes and reflects each other, whether we're talking about West Papua, Kashmir, or the Uyghurs, or the Turkish ethnic cleansing of the Kurds. What's my favorite fiction book? That's a really good question. Yes, Tony Blair did a lot of work in the stans, and I'm actually quite familiar with that. My favorite fiction book? That is a really good question. I think maybe White Teeth by Zadie Smith, or Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Brother Karamazov is up there. Can we get a shout out to Kashama Sawant? She's been a real one for a long time. And Amazon's making the city council race really scary. Yes, and I would love to have Kashama Sawant on my show. She's really important. And she's a huge leader. She got elected to the city council, as a socialist. That's actually one. I always make a point to bring up Occupy, Chicago's teachers strike, Fight for 15, Black Lives Matter, then Bernie. But I should definitely be including her election to the Seattle City Council. I just uploaded a video, a little rant on the USA. Guys, everybody go subscribe to What Do You Mean's excellent YouTube channel. Could a Corbyn election victory make a substantial difference to Bernie's primary election victory? I think it would help, and I think it's really important, but I don't think it. America's more insulated than it should be, to be blunt. How do you feel about Kendrick Lamar? I think To Pimp a Butterfly is an amazing album, philosophically and politically. Love the show, left is best. People have asked me about Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is obviously an incredible talent. That is a great album. Some of it is just kind of personal affinity. I don't find myself always going back to Kendrick Lamar, but it's just not even a question. Kendrick Lamar is an unbelievable talent who puts out really good albums. He's brilliant. There's no doubt about that. But in my day, so if even like today, okay, Kofi, and then I go back to Dipset, right? Or if I'm at the gym, Dipset, Biggie, Dipset. I like a lot. I like Jadakiss actually a lot as an individual performer, more so than the Lox. Do you think Howard Stern's blackface will ever come back to haunt him? No, I don't. I think he has a different audience. I think it was, I remember that. It was a Clarence Thomas bit. I don't think so. No. And I think, I think Howard's a very interesting figure, and an evolving figure, and an undeniable massive talent. Even if he is, as an example, like a complete asshole about the Middle East. How problematic will voter fraud and election be in this primary for Bernie? Any thoughts on what we can do to prevent it? Honestly, look, just make sure you're registered. Make sure that you're out. Make sure that you're doing it. I really think that's the most important thing. And be very aware of your state's election laws. Have you read Newert's Alt America? As a person interested in taking down and analyzing cultural, social antecedents to the IDW, you will enjoy it. Oh, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. I can't stand Destiny anymore. I think he's deliberately trying to annoy progressives. I don't know. I don't keep up with all of that, to be honest. Trump is definitely a schmuck. Andrew Yang is against the minimum wage. That is correct. TMBS or MR needs a West Coast visit. Well, we did a great live show in LA, and we're working on one for Austin. Do you think third world countries banding together to refuse to pay off IMF debt and realistic, and would it be good? P.S. Listen to Akala. I will. People keep recommending it. Well, I'm very fascinated by efforts in the periphery. You know, whether we're talking about the pink tide or third worldism, that's why I've had Adoma Kechiachu on the show as an example. So I think that kind of banding together to, as an example, to refuse to take World Bank and IMF dictates, which did happen as an example during the pink tide years in Latin America, yes. Incredibly positive, incredibly important, incredibly significant. And I would go as a patron. Adoma Kachiachu was on the main show, and we also did an illicit history for patrons of third worldism, and really what Michael Manley tried to do as Prime Minister of Jamaica. By the way, that is the next video illicit history, how the drug trade replaced socialism in Jamaica. That's been there for Comrade and above patrons who helped make that happen. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll put it out on the illicit history list with all of the rest of the illicit histories on the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. I love you back. What do you think Tulsi's tweet about Hillary? I talked about it in the beginning of the show. I thought it was funny. By the way, I think if Hillary runs, it would be great for Bernie. So cool. You know, I don't care. Yeah, you know, I mean, whatever. I don't look, I mean, obviously Hillary Clinton being in politics is, you know, bad for politics. Favorite reggae artist? Oh, that's hard. I mean, so many. At the moment, Kofi. But there's a lot. I mean, there's, you know, Chronix, Buju. LA is a desert. Come to North Cal. I think we probably do need to get to North Cal. Michael, can you say happy birthday to your friend Clara? Introduce me to your channel. Happy birthday, Clara, and thank you so much for spreading the word. I appreciate everybody who does that. Thoughts on the protests in Lebanon? I need to learn a lot more about it, but I'm going to get up to speed for Tuesday. I've been hearing, and earlier comments are made the point that it's anti-sectarian, cross-sectarian, and anti-austerity. And obviously, any type of cross-boundary unity, class-based politics, I support, and I'm incredibly excited about, whether it's in Omaha or, you know, Sao Paulo. So, but to see it in a place as bifurcated along those identity lines as Lebanon is extraordinarily exciting. Have you read Matt Taibbi's commentary on the impeachment in Rolling Stone and on Substack? What do you think? I haven't read all of it. I think he has great points about, let's be real, Democrats and institutional media have been terrible to whistleblowers and people who've exposed wrongdoing at the NSA, CIA, and corporations, people like Thomas Drake and the gentleman who exposed the Bush administration's torture regime. The Obama administration was horrifying on civil liberties and whistleblowers. And of course, I mean, it always bears repeating, look, the Trump administration is even worse. I oppose nuclear power. Free Lula, but I absolutely oppose nuclear power. I think I don't see it at the cost-benefit analysis, and I don't think it's a magic bullet to get us out of the need to really radically deploy clean energy and also improve efficiencies and transportation systems. So I don't support nuclear power, and I have not seen anything that has dissuaded me on that. So beyond that, though, I completely lost track of what I was going to say. Unfortunately, I just completely lost track of what I was saying. Like, completely lost track. I'm pretty tired. If we tax the rich, won't they just private tax haven or move their assets overseas? Not if we have serious enforcement mechanisms, and that's, big, and also we got to start setting up global synchronization of those types of policies. Michael, hope you feel better. Sam said you were sick. Linked to a good article and suggestion in the channel on Discord, also on the Tulsi meltdown. I'm good. I was just totally burned out and exhausted today because I did the debate Tuesday night, then I did my show after a full day and meetings, and then on Thursday I'm the main, I'm in the main chair on Majority Report, so I just was shot. What are the odds Tulsi gets suicided like Epstein? I think very unlikely. And of course, I hope she remains safe and healthy. But why don't we talk about Jeffrey Epstein anymore? Jesus Christ. Hey, wait, I am not going to tell you which Patreon you should cancel to support me. What I'm going to tell you is you should cancel all of them to become a Comrade patron. I'm just playing. Or am I? Don't you need to be a neo-lib to know Tulsi is trash? Absolutely. I mean, guys, like, I don't know. I mean, look, part of the reason I focused on Tulsi out of the gate is I just think, even if it's 2% from Bernie, that's bad. But coming from my clout, Kennedy, goddamn, I thought we were friends. We gave you a lot of clout. A power that you use quite aggressively, according to many grumblings I've heard on the YouTube channel. But also, thank you for your good work. Respect from Australia. Respect back. Thank you so much. But I think that the thing with, hey, Michael, watch all of your stuff. Keep it up. Also, have you played the good video games lately? Well, first of all, I really appreciate it. And secondly, I'll totally admit I'm not a video game player. So I don't know anything about that. Like literally nothing. Would you cover the real threat that Andrew Scheer and the conservative government, huge threat to international progressivism? Maybe. I mean, we've talked quite a bit about the Canadian elections. What do you believe when people hear Marxism, they automatically think of Mao's China, the Soviet Union? You're totally hot, by the way. Well, first of all, thank you. Obviously, your personal good taste. That's some deprogramming. That's going to really need to take some work. And it's hard because there's a huge propaganda effort. What do you know about Beau, the fifth column? I know nothing. But I also think that people just need to be, really introduced to a set of ideas from Marx and Engels and through Rosa Luxemburg and through Amilcar Cabral. And I think that you can also say, look, these ideas directly fed everything from the liberation of Vietnam and South Africa, from colonialism and apartheid, to the establishment of the best social systems in the world in Scandinavia. Had a coworker who's a Joe Rogan fan who became a fan of Bernie because of his appearance on the show, told him about TMBS, and now he's a patron. Awesome. Thank you so much. And welcome. Hope you're watching. We got to get on. Joe Rogan should totally have me on someday, but we'll see. I will check out Beau in the fifth column. I haven't heard of that, but it sounds cool. I'm always down to check out good stuff. Look, I think a sheer government is terrible. No doubt about it. And you would know better than me. I think that obviously Canadian politics, the book is done. It's in edits. It's going to be out February or March. I'm very excited about it. Just got the first blurb for it from the great Bill Fletcher Jr., which is a great honor. But so I think that I'm very concerned about Scheer. Obviously, it seems to me though that Jagmeet Singh has said that he will go into coalition to prevent a conservative government. Justin Trudeau has not said that. The Green Party has not said that. So, it seems like you got, I think if you're in a position where you can coalition, you should vote NDP, and then maybe there's certain, ridings where you should vote strategically for Liberals to prevent Scheer. Although, the Trudeau government is truly catastrophic and disgusting with everything from Saudi Arabia to Israel, Brazil, and just an abominable, disgusting record on First Nations people in Canada. A lot to answer for in that Trudeau record. All right, any other questions before I sign off, guys? I will probably do a live stream tomorrow from the Bernie AOC rally. Incredibly excited about it. I'd encourage everybody to phone bank for Bernie. You've said before, and I've said it again, solidarity with the Japanese Communist Party. Yes, solidarity. UP uprising. I want to know more. There will be more Asia content, more Eastern European content, and more environmental content. I'm an American Sikh, loving Jagmeet Singh, loving that Jagmeet Singh is great on the issues with Canada, prime for a progressive coalition government, Mexico and Bernie in the U.S. What do you think about the left? About left north? I think that is the dream scenario. Respect back to Ireland. I love Ireland. And then how does it synchronize with labor power coming together across these borders for strikes, for serious insurgency in labor, so that all of North America be connected through progressive governance and bottom-up social movements. Tupac was giving money to Mumia Abu-Jamal and was being followed by Alpha Boys. Do you think these rappers are doing who knows what East Coast bias for rap? I do have an East Coast bias, and definitely, I mean, look, even just like the NYPD's hip hop unit, rap unit, that was horrible, and it still exists. I mean, the paramilitary approach in terms of race and policing in this country that gets manifested through that, I think it's, most white people frankly just don't know. And the only reason that I have some sense of it is because, you read a bit and you try to talk to a broader set of folks. Frankly, that's what everybody needs to do, including on global issues. Next live show in Portland, Michael, please, love you. We got to do that. We definitely have to do a Portland live show at some point. No doubt. A San Diego show. I really wonder if TMBS could fill up San Diego. That would be awesome. All right, guys. I also just wanted to say, as always, I appreciate all of you so much. I'm honored. If the Kurds side with Assad against Turkey, could that lead to a more open conversation between Russia and Turkey and lead to a larger conflict? I doubt it, frankly. I doubt that. And the Kurds need to, it's a deal with the devil, but it's a deal that needs to happen. And just as I oppose the portrayal of Rojava that Trump has done in his disgusting way and the, one-dimensional tanky defense of it, I also think that the crocodile tears of the mainstream foreign policy establishment, which now all of a sudden only condemns terrorist groups that Turkey's using to help slaughter the Kurds, and also who didn't support a diplomatic process before. There needed to be a diplomatic process before that included Assad. And if you look at my position on this, very consistent. Look at the Thabo and Becky justice or peace conversation with Mike Hanna. Diplomacy involves deals at times with really despicable people, with war criminals, with people who've committed crimes against humanity, as every faction in Syria pretty much has done. The United States, Russia, Assad, Saudi, the Emirates, and so on. The Kurds needed to cut a deal with him, and there needed to be a diplomatic process from the beginning. Instead, the CIA partnered with its Gulf partners to fund far-right Muslim, Sunni groups, which undermined the organic uprising, which, yes, I believe it was an organic uprising. Open to NUC expert in the show, I'm free. Maybe. To be honest, I'm not super interested in getting into that, but we could explore it. John Kasich just put in support for impeachment. Cool. That's good. Anything helps. Can you make a good argument that Warren should be Bernie's VP, especially since he needs all legislative help he can get, and it would leave a seat open for neoliberals like Kennedy? I'm not that. Look, if she becomes TMBS show in Arizona, need progressives, that would be awesome. Reed was Warren's VP. He wants a younger woman of color as VP, wants to keep his movement going after he's gone. That would be my inclination, right? With someone with a broader set of left bona fides and who's younger and so on. But I also think, look, I like Nina Turner. I have a strong bias for Nina Turner. But I have to say, I want to be really clear with people. Look, as we say, I'm not fucking around with this election. It really matters. Bernie Sanders is the one that it's incredibly important that he assume the presidency. But look, if I'm not a hater of Elizabeth Warren at all. And if that's the deal and that's the path, I think that would work out just fine. particularly in that role. Whereas, Ryan Grimm pointed out, it's about certain areas of personnel. It's about certain legislative areas involving banks and financial institutions. The big picture, the strategy, the actual radical shift is Sanders and that movement and the squad. And then, but this is always the pattern. I mean, progressive technocratic reform is always subsumed and only is effective in the context of bottom-up left movements and organizing. So it's always the second order thing. If I had a magic wand, Nina Turner would be vice president. I think her leadership is extraordinary. And then, maybe you get, someone as chief of staff who's much more like Washington up. Look, no, I agree. I mean, I think Warren's foreign policy is truly terrible. And I'm going to talk more about, her recent comments on Israel-Palestine were ahistorical and abominable. I'm not, I'm both not going to, some people bend out of their way to go easy on her because of certain pressures, I think. And then others, are trying to work themselves up, I think, into a bit of a tizzy to make it, her worse than she is. I'm not going to do either. There's admirable and good things about her. There's some really problematic things about her record. And in no scenario, if you have a left politics, is she preferable to Bernie Sanders. And, obviously that's why, again, Ilhan Omar and AOC, they have that actual commitment. So hence the endorsement, hence being part of that movement. All right, any final questions, guys? I really appreciate all of you. Become a patron today. That's how this happens. Patreon.com/TMBS, the most important thing you could do. It empowers all of us. It keeps us totally independent. We can tell you exactly what we think and feel. The YouTube is great. It helps people discover the show and understand the show. Click the bell. How would you label yourself politically if you had to? Independent Marxist. I'll borrow from the great CLR James, something like that. And so I would say that is the most important thing to do. Patreon.com/TMBS. Check out Bad Praxis by Kennedy. There's a whole bunch of great shows that people in the universe of this show are doing. Massive props. Patreon.com/TMBS. Click the bell so you get the notifications. And of course, regularly watch our videos. We're clipping a lot of videos now, 2-3 a week. And that's another thing that you can spread to your social networks so they can know that there's a for real left, entertaining, internationally focused YouTube channel with an incredible amount of amazing guests, from Milton Alamati to Anna Kasparian, from the great Ilona Minkowski to Andre Demise. Read your talk with Andre. The NDP is the only party to respond to a survey with plans to crack down on Canadian corporations in the global south. Well, that's incredibly important, although his Alula answer sucked. Did you comment on Hillary Clinton calling Tulsi a Russian asset bizarre conspiracy theory? I did, and it is a bizarre conspiracy theory. Everybody, check out What Do You Mean? Awesome YouTube channel. Those animations are so good. All right, folks. I gotta go. Patreon.com/TMBS. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Spread the word. I'll do a live stream tomorrow from the Bernie AOC Michael Moore rally. It's incredible. Phone bank for Bernie if you can. Make a call for him if you can. Go door to door for him if you can. Throw him a couple bucks if you can. It matters. Peace and love. I love you back.